All right, guys, so I just want to talk a little bit about the incident that happened here in Tanzania a couple of days ago with gospel musician, or say artist, Moses Bliss. To be honest, I'm going to speak this from a perspective of One Africa, the mission that we are fighting. We've been fighting for a couple of years. You know, for those who knows, we've been fighting for a single passport in Africa. The reason why, because we want our countries to be opened up for our people, Africans, to traverse freely within the continent of Africa. One of the issues that we're facing in Africa is that we don't really love each other, and most of African countries, we open our doors wide open for Westerners, Easterners, but we make it very difficult and hard for our fellow African brothers to come inside the countries and to just enjoy, you know, not even to enjoy, but for business wise and everything. I don't say that we should not have a proper procedures and all this stuff. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that the system and everything, I think it should be you know, loosen up a little bit so that our people can actually traverse freely. I've been to Nigeria, I've been to so many African countries, and I've seen how difficult it is for an African going to another African country. It starts from the visa application fee, you know, a lot of money. I share this a lot of time, how much money I have to pay every time I go to another African country. But what happened to Moses Bliss, yeah, that's just one person, but with a lot of other Africans, specifically in Tanzania, you know, it is not right and it's not fair. I'm saying this because it makes it so hard. If you're a Tanzanian who is traveling to other African countries, I think you can understand this and you can agree with me. It is so hard and difficult when you go to another African country as a Tanzanian. Why? Because we already have a bad picture right now that African is resisting African people to come to the country, right? And so it becomes really hard for us, a Tanzanian, to go to another African country. When they see me as a Tanzanian, you know, restriction, they're just going to begin right there. Why? Because here in our country, we do the same thing to them. I don't see the reason why Moses had to be blocked at the airport and not to be allowed to come within the country. What does this say between the relationship that we have between Tanzania and Nigeria? Okay, recently, ATCL, the Tanzania Airlines, you know, they started direct trip from Dar es Salaam all the way to Lagos, Nigeria. So what are the implications of this if we cannot allow them to come to our countries? This is a well-known person, right? Forget about other people, thousands of people who we don't know them and they've been stopped or they don't get visa to come to the country. But this is a well-known person and everybody knew that he's coming here to perform. But he was stopped at the airport, regardless of spending a lot of $100,000 to just come here to bless the people of Tanzania. But he was stopped at the airport. This is not right. It is not fair. As we're fighting for the one Africa we want, and I'm not just saying this because it's Tanzania, but I'm saying this to all other African countries. It just happened at this time, Tanzania, we are, you know, we're the one who have done that. And it's not right. And we cannot keep promoting that. And we cannot stay silent by accepting this kind of treatment to our fellow African brothers. Imagine how he's feeling right now. Because Moses Bliss, he has a huge number of followers, huge number of fans, not only in Tanzania, in all countries in Africa and in Nigeria as well. But now everybody knowing that Tanzania has stopped these men of God to come within the country. This is not fair. We cannot entertain this. We cannot be fighting for the Africa we want, and at the same time, we raise up all these restrictions in our countries, right? Okay, I've seen the news that right now, I think Tanzania and Kenya, they're going to sit up to talk about, you know, the decision that Tanzania did a couple months ago to stop all these small business owners from East African countries to operate in the country. They'll have a sit down to talk about that. I don't really know what is happening in the country, but these moves, you know, they are not pointing to the direction of one Africa we want or the Africa we want. We cannot just be living in a one country, you know, separate, isolated, away from everybody else, because we travel, all right? I might be here in Tanzania, but some of your guys are going to Kenya, you guys are going to Uganda, you guys are going to Nigeria, you guys are going to Ghana. What are the treatment is going to be there for our people? Think about the implication of our people when they visit these countries. So my message is this. I don't know what's the reason this has been done, but I think it's about time for Tanzania to really loosen up all these restrictions to our fellow African brothers. Because this is not the country that JK, Julius Kambarage Nyerere, our father of the nation, the father who fought for the independence of so many African countries. The father who opened up the doors of Tanzanians for Mozambique, for Malawi, for Zimbabwe, for South Africa, their leaders to come here, and they settled here. The father who started OAU, Organization of African Union, the organization that is fighting for the unity of Africa. This is the icon, the Baba of Africa. This is not just the Baba of Tanzania, but Nyerere was the Baba of Africa. He fought for this nation, and these are the foundation that built this nation. But today, it doesn't seem like we are still building on the same foundation. I think it's the time for a change. I think it's the time to, do something about this. The government of Tanzania and the people of Tanzania. It is not good picture. It is not a good look for us to constantly rejecting our people, rejecting our fellow Africans. And our father of the nation was fighting for the unity of this continent. But what are we doing right now? We are rejecting our people. No, we cannot do that. This has to stop. This has to be changed. And this has to be different. So, if you have ears to hear, please listen to this message and please make some change. Because let me tell you this, guys, the implication of fighting for the single passport within the continent and the implication of removing the borders in the continent is not as negative as you think. When you open up a country, you know what's going to happen. You're opening up the business opportunities. You're opening up the employment opportunities. You're opening up new opportunities for people. Because look at here, for example, in Tanzania, we have a lot of Nigerian business here. It means our people will be employed in those businesses. If you go to Kenya, if you come here, you'll find Kenyans doing business here. We need to open up our borders for our fellow African brothers and sisters. Why? Because I see Chinese all over African continent. Wherever you go, you see a lot of Chinese in our countries. But why are we allowing them and stopping our fellow Africans to come within the countries? It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. This is inferiority complex, and this is colonized mentality. We need to be decolonized. We need to put Africa first. The first people that we need to focus on, the first people that we need to prioritize are Africans, because we travel, man. We live outside. The treatment that we receive in other countries that we travel is hard. I'm fighting for the unity of Africa, so I travel in a lot of countries. I remember when I went to Zambia and I had to sleep at the borders for 24 hours the whole day because I was stopped not entering the country. I don't even need a visa to enter in the country, but I was stopped there for 1 day sleeping at the borders. Do you know why this is happening? Because it happened to them when they come to our countries. But we cannot keep doing this for each other. We cannot keep doing this for each other. We're just raging, we're just raising up anger inside of our people. We cannot keep doing this, man. We need to change, we need to transform, and we need to bring our people together as soon as possible. We need to fight for one Africa passport. We need to fight for one Africa. We need to do everything we get for the benefit of our people. Because today is for them, but tomorrow is going to be for us and for our next generation. So Tanzania, please hear this message, and you can do it better. Tanzania, you can do better. You can do better than this. This is not you. I assure you, and I know you can do better. You can do better than this. You have ability, you have capability. You can do better than this. This is not you. This is not the Tanzania I know. This is not Tanzania we want. You can do better. And on behalf of Tanzania, I want to apologize for my brothers and sisters in Nigeria. We are sorry. We are sorry. Yes, immigration might have stopped you from entering the country, but we as a people of Tanzania, we love Nigeria. We love Nigerians, and please welcome home. And we hope next time things will be so much better. And my message to Nigeria, government immigration, please don't stop our brothers and sisters Tanzanian. Don't stop them. But it's the time to remove these borders. It's the time to open up our countries for our fellow brothers and sisters. It's the time for one Africa right now.